he said it because of his wet blanket energy.
Unhinged. That's actually unhinged.
Hey guys, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Jackie.
And we are going to recap episode 3 of Joan's season of The Golden Bachelorette. But first, Jackie, you hung out with a little special someone yesterday. And I think
special someone.
Our listeners need to know about it.
Sure. Yeah, no, I'll send you the picture so we can like put the picture in here too. So I was invited to this event for House of Villains, that new show on E in New York. And so it was a cool little event. Like, I'm glad I went. I had forgotten Victoria Larson from The Bachelor. I forgot she was even like in that show. So like that was the Bachelor connection. But the main meat and potatoes of the event and why I'm so glad I was there was because I met the queen, Maria, at the event. And she was so freaking sweet and so nice. I'm obsessed with her.
I didn't know you were at the House of Villains event until you told me you ended up later seeing Victoria Larson. And then it clicked. I'm like, oh, wait, she's in the cast of that season. That's why she's there. When you sent me a picture of you and Maria, which you guys look so cute together, I thought she was just like at a New York City bar and you happened to run into her. So I had no idea it was like an event that like maybe, why was she there? Just because she was invited? And
because she was invited. Because when I got there, I had ran into a friend of mine and then they were like, oh yeah. Cause I was like, oh yeah, I'm here. Cause like I have a Bachelor podcast, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, there are Bachelor people here. And I was like, oh great. Like who? And they're like, do you know Maria? And I was like,
no, I don't.
And they're like, she's so tiny and she's wearing a little brown top. Here, go do a lap. Go find her. Go find her. So I was like, okay. She could not have been more nice. So she was there. I guess I realized after the fact sitting with Victoria Larson, but how bad is it that it didn't even like clock in my brain that sitting next to her was Victoria Larson and that Victoria Larson
was sitting next to her?
Victoria Larson was sitting next to Maria. They were like kind of, I guess they're together. I don't know if they're friendly or what, but like I went up to Maria and like it did not clock in my brain that Victoria Larson was also sitting right there. But I just went up to her and I was like, hi, like I just wanted to introduce myself. Do you know like She's All Batch podcast? And she was like, oh my God, like yes, of course I do. Like, and I was like, well, I just wanted to introduce myself. Like, you know, when you're off contract, we'd love to have you on the show. We've been such big supporters of you. Like, we love you. And she was like, oh my God, yes, like give me a hug. She was like, where's your other half? And I was like, oh, Stephanie wasn't able to make it, but you know, we like have to do something with you. And then she told me the date when she was off contract and she was like, yeah, but you can try to go through like Warner Brothers and stuff or whatever.
Maria, like, you don't know
girl,
us.
We've tried that. It's not going to work. But she gave me her number. We did like a little texting exchange where I was like, oh, Jackie from She's All Batch. And she was like, oh, got it. And I like hearted the message. We took a little selfie. And that was it. I didn't want to like bother her too much, but you know, at events like that, it's there for networking. So I was like, I feel like I'm well within my right to be like, hi, I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm from this podcast. And she knew exactly who we were. So I'm obsessed with her and she was so sweet. Yeah.
That is so cool. Because I had said to Jackie, I'm like, wait, Maria follows me on Instagram. So I know she at least knows the name. She knows the podcast. She knows something. And you were like, yeah, she asked about you. I was curious to know what that meant, but oh my God, that's so cool. Also, can we just like point out how she can pull off purposely closing her eyes in a photo and still look hot? Like she does it a lot. She does like, but like I clearly am not as talented as Miss Georgas, but what a good find at that.
I know
event.
That was a really good sighting. And then I will just say like, compare that to like, then it clicked in my brain. I was like, oh, Victoria Larson's in this cast. Cause they showed a little preview of like the first 15 minutes of the show.
Oh wait, that's her right there.
No, yeah, I know it like didn't, she also looks really different than she did on Matt James's season. She definitely had like a little, like she looked snatched. She actually looked incredible, Victoria Larson. Yeah, so since she walked by, they're like showing a little preview of the show. And I was like, oh, like you're Victoria, right? Like I'm from She's All Batch Like I basically did like the same spiel that I did to Maria. Like, oh, like I'm from She's All Batch podcast. Like just had to introduce myself. Would love to like get you on the show. And she goes, yeah, let's do it. And then just like kept walking. So like just compare those two experiences, guys. Interpret that as you will.
I think she could be scarred from The Bachelor. I mean, she didn't have a great time on the show. People weren't very friendly to her. And I understand if she doesn't like want to do a Bachelor podcast. Your thought was like, well, she's at an event to promote her show. Like technically, shouldn't she have to go on other podcasts to like get people talking about the show?
Yeah. And I guess in theory, like it doesn't have to be our show. And if she really wants to like turn the page and not talk about Bachelor stuff, She's All Batch podcast is obviously like not the place to go. So I guess I get it from that sense. Or she could have also too been like busy or like thinking of something else or like running to the bathroom or like running somewhere else to like meet a friend and I caught her off guard and she just kept walking. I totally get that too. Also, Teresa from Real Housewives of New Jersey was there with her daughter. Gia was there.
But you meant Teresa Nist, which I would be more excited about.
That would be
I would
very exciting spotting. Oh my God, could you imagine? Well, speaking of like Teresa to Leslie, I was saying to Maria when she was like, oh no, but you guys can also try like contacting Warner Brothers. I can try to come on before. I was like, that's not going to work. And I was like, I met Leslie like a couple months ago and we exchanged back and forth and she keeps trying to get us to get in contact with Warner Brothers so that she can come on, and it's never been like a thing. So yeah, if the Teresa was there in her like long sleeve bathing suit, I would have
Rest in peace me. I would die. I'd be like, Teresa, teach me your ways.
The housewife Teresa was there with her daughter. New York. Did you ever watch Flavor of Love? She was the other like big star from
I know her
this season.
But I don't watch.
She was there. And then other people that I like don't know. Like honestly,
what other Bachelor people?
That was it. Those were the only two Bachelor people there. The cast of season 2 House of Villains is like kind of lackluster compared to like season 1 where it was like Jax, Corinne. I just like they had way more people in
Johnny
season 1.
Bananas.
Yeah. Whereas like season 2, the only people I knew were Victoria Larson, New York, and Teresa from Real Housewives.
Wait, Teresa's on it. She's like probably the biggest star then out of all of them.
Yeah, no, she is the biggest star out of that whole season, but that's it. Like she's the biggest by a lot. Like she's the one who's probably most relevant.
I think we previously covered the cast list before, and we talked about how season 1 to season 2 is like, I think if you're gonna have to get a Bachelor person, because clearly you had Corinne, maybe you want to fill that role every single season. I'm sure Victoria is going to be great. I think it's a little bit of a weird choice. I think there are a lot more people who, one, are more well known to be villains. I don't really think Victoria was like, I mean, I think the word villain is tossed around a lot in this franchise, but like villain wise, and also like relevancy. Is relevancy a word?
Yeah, I think so.
Relevant. Someone more relevant in Bachelor. If you're trying to fill the Bachelor slot on the cast to get people like us to watch, maybe get someone that like is more relevant in Bachelor Nation. Like,
no, I agree.
Maria. I'm wondering if that's why she's there, because like she could have been like a good, even though she wasn't a villain, but like
I know I was trying to figure out like if she was just there like through friends of friends or why she was invited. She was with some other girl, some blonde girl, but not someone from The Bachelor. I don't know. But it was a really fun event. Honestly, shout out. I love when like all of my worlds collide, because it was like Bachelor, but also like I work at Peacock and this is like an NBC show. It's an E show. So like to see that this was probably like a team that is in my office, like made this whole event. And honestly, it was cool. Like you could go and like they like little bracelets where you have like little villain things. I have ones that say dingbat, feral, peasant, like little insults that you could wear bracelets. Yeah, I'm a dingbat.
Dingbat was an insult on Dance Moms though. They should have Abby Lee Miller on the cast. Like they really could.
You don't think they tried? I don't know.
Well, honestly, now they're never going to get anyone like that, though. No one's going to do season 3 and get like bigger stars after, I don't know. I can see this being
I still also don't even really get what is the point of the show? Like, do they do competitions or they just like
Jackie, I've recapped it for you guys. Season 1, I binged. It was so
You
good.
watched the whole season 1? Oh, I remember
talked about it on the show.
I remember us talking about it, but I didn't know if you had watched like the whole thing or if you just like saw
Johnny
an episode.
Bananas. Yes. Yeah, no. They do competitions and then they vote people out, and it's definitely manipulated and staged, but I was okay with it. Like, I was still into like some of the characters.
It's just no traitors, you know? And I feel like that's what it's kind of trying to be.
Do you know Courtney wants to get on Traitors? And like, I actually feel like she could.
We talked about it, I think, in Vegas.
That'd be so cool.
Should get it. For what, season 4?
I guess season 3 is already
done. Yeah, it's coming out in, actually, I can't say, but it's coming out.
You can't. So Jackie, you know that, you know when? Wow, you're so professional. Like the actual date?
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me if it's going to be 2025 though, right?
Yeah.
January.
I don't know.
Yay. Okay, cool. Okay, we need to take a second and talk about Lume. So I tell you guys all the time how much I love Lume. And you guys have also written me a ton telling me that you've started using Lume because of us. And you are like now diehard Lume fans as well. Couldn't be happier about that. It's become my deodorant of choice now for over a year. And trust me when I say I literally have never smelled better. And their odor protection is unlike anything I've ever experienced in my entire life. And every single person who's tried the products can attest to that as well. They have amazing scents for everyone. You could choose from clean tangerine, lavender, sage, toasted coconut, which is the one I use. They also have a soft powder, which I like as well.
So guys, Lume is a whole body deodorant and it's safe to use anywhere on your body. It was created by an OBGYN who saw firsthand that BO was always being misdiagnosed and mistreated. So like Stefanie said, it's clinically proven to block odor all day and control odor for up to 72 hours. And all the products are baking soda free, paraben free, and pH balanced. So they are safe to use below the waist.
Also, Lume's starter pack is perfect for new customers. So if you are interested in trying out Lume, this starter pack comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, and 2 free products of your choice, which could be like mini body wash or deodorant wipes, and free shipping. And as a special offer for our listeners, new customers get 15% off all Lume products with our exclusive code. And if you combine the 15% off with the already discounted starter pack, that equals over 40% off the starter pack. So use code She'sAllBatch for 15% off your first purchase at LumeDeodorant.com. That's LumeDeodorant.com with code She'sAllBatch. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Lume. Should we get into episode 3?
I guess we shall. Well, since I went to the event last night, I will say I was like up till like 12:30 then watching this episode. And I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, it
was not holding my attention the way it should be. And I think once again, could be shorter. Take it with a grain of salt. Take my advice. I wish the writers were listening. The writers, producers, all the people. I just think like the drama's the same every single time though, right? Like we're only on episode 3 and there's no drama within the men, really. It's really just like Joan wondering if she's ready. And I totally understand that. And I empathize with her situation. This is not to like make light of, obviously, like your husband passing is a huge event in your life. She's never going to be fully over it. But it's like, are we going to do this every episode?
I mean, like even Pascal's date, like I literally have. No,
wait, can we talk about, all right, so let's start with talking with Pascal's date. So he gets the one-on-one. Joan shows up in a Ferrari. They go to Vegas, which is like stunning, stunning, stunning. I thought it was funny how Pascal was like, ooh, a private plane? This is right up my alley. However, he gets the rose though. And I'm like, did they even talk? Did I?
They did. You were just not paying attention because it was midnight.
No, but like they didn't. They didn't really have like a nighttime portion where now past like for the amount of times on the show that every single guy has given us like their backstory and all the things that they've been through, whether that's like a spouse passing away or a divorce or something. I don't remember Pascal saying anything about anything. They go on like the wheel and then he gets the rose, but they don't actually sit down and have a deep conversation like they always do, right?
I mean, I'm sure they did. I'm sure.
Okay, but you don't remember it either. I don't think it happened. I actually wrote this down. I was like, I actually don't think this happened.
Maybe it did. Sound off. Did it happen? Did you see something happen? Let us know.
We didn't hear Pascal's trauma.
So I think like the bigger storyline from this episode is Charles L getting his closure from his wife who passed away 6 years ago. So he sits down with Guy, who is like honestly the hero of this episode. Like Guy was the one that helped out Charles L and really got him closure with his wife's passing. And then Guy was the only one that sang Kim's little song to Joan. And then Guy is the one when Kim got eliminated, went outside and gave him a hug. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I have feelings for Guy. I think he wins now. This is just my take. I obviously don't know literally anything, but he is so cute and he's such a good guy. And these are just things like, it's not him like doing it for the show. It doesn't seem like it seems like he's genuine. Like he was the only one to sing Kim's sweet little Munchkin Land song.
I know. I did
like
think
we are the Munchkin Men,
the Mansion Men, not the Munchkin Men.
Same thing.
Yeah, no, I do think Guy's a front runner. I'm still like all in on Chock. I think he is.
Can we talk about how Chock, they're teasing him going home next week? Like that's obviously not real. But like,
well, I don't know though. Joan left early, right? It could be like a similar parallel. I don't know.
But
you really
Chock
think that's all fake?
I mean, is it really crazy of me to think it's fake? He could be like getting in the car and being like, I'm just going to run down the block real quick. I have to go to CVS. BRB.
Right.
And then
I'm
come right
going
back.
on a date. Goodbye.
Like, it shows him getting in a car. For all we know, he can be like, that could be him getting in the car to go to the group date. They showed Joey getting in the car alone at his final rose because he was probably on the way to the final rose. I just don't buy it. And he's like, I have to leave. He could maybe like have a moment where he's having doubts or something, but I don't think he leaves. That would be crazy if he leaves.
If he does leave, at least we'd have a little drama.
Yeah, I mean, I would be nice
I'm
to
here
like,
for it.
I like him
sense.
and I want him to stay, but I agree. Like, it would maybe shake things up. So we're not watching them literally go shopping for melatonin, which I understand is cute. It's like sweet and wholesome watching these men like coexist in this mansion. But at some point, we need to like kick this thing into high gear. Like, I love these men. Like, the men are so great. I really like watching them. Oh, I have in my notes, Pascal had a rough upbringing. So he definitely talked about stuff, just FYI. Then we have a group date.
At first they're like football, except JK, kickball.
Kickball.
Normally, I feel like at this time in the show, they'll play football like on the normal season. And I thought it was funny that they like switched it to kickball, something that's a little bit more
easy on the body.
Friendly. Yeah, a little bit easier on the body.
Age friendly, yeah. What I noticed is that so the blue team wins, but a lot of the front runners were on the red team. The red team was Dan, Chock, Guy, Mark. Like, that's if I were Joan, I'd be like, oh, I want the red team to win. Like, those are all my guys, including
Do you
Guy.
think there is an opportunity to like pull an Ari and then be like, oh, actually both teams get to come, or whatever happened on the infamous bowling date of Ari's
Justice
season.
for Crystal. So blue team wins and they get to have like a little cocktail party with Joan without the rest of the guys. And I noticed when they pan the camera out, I'm like, oh my God, it's Gil again. They're doing such a good job removing him from the show that when I see him, I literally forget that he's there. And they show her sitting and having a one-on-one conversation. And I kid you not, while I'm watching, I'm like, he has to get the group date rose, or else why would they include this? There's no need for her for us to see a conversation with him if they're going to just keep editing him out of the show. So I was like, there has to be a reason why we're seeing this conversation. And he did. He got the group date rose. And then I'm like, oh, okay, like that kind of checks out why we saw that. Because then how would they have edited that? We'd be like, wait, who got the group date rose? And we just wouldn't know.
Right. No, that's such a good point. Because I was starting to question, because I know we had talked about Gil being cut out of the episode. And then when they showed so much of him, I was like, wait, is this the guy that's supposed to like not be in the show because we were seeing so much of him? But yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. That right, like they can't not have a group date rose.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't notice him in the actual kickball game, but then he goes away again. Like they're really doing a good job at completely removing him unless they absolutely need him in the scene. So, I mean, on this cocktail party though, Charles L again brings up his wife and how he's feeling like he got closure with Guy helping him. And I don't really think it's the craziest thought to assume that Charles L is not the one for Joan, but I was happy that she still kept him. Like, he was one of the last roses again. And I was like, Joan, you're treading on thin ice here, lady. Like, do not send this man home. But I don't think anyone thinks they actually have like a romantic connection. They seem like friends.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I thought it was also kind of crazy too. Kelsey's dad got the last rose. And I was like, already we're like putting him in like bottom of the barrel territory. That's kind of crazy. But I guess we are very quickly like narrowing it down, right?
But narrowing it down, like, how is he not in the top half of the group?
Right. Like, I would think, like, back to Charles, I think like she has a way stronger connection with Kelsey's dad than she does with Charles, like romantically at least.
Yeah, so I was actually surprised by that too. But then like he gets the last rose, so I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, even if like Joan is at this point like, I do not like which I don't think is the case, but even if she was like, I don't like this man, I want him to be sent home. We know they're setting him up so much for some sort of Golden Bachelor edit that like he needs to at least get a one-on-one date. And maybe that was the case where Joan was like, I'm over Mark. Like, I want to send him home. And they're like, Joan, no, we need him at least for another week because we need to set him up. She was like, fine. Well, then I'm giving him the last rose to give him no hope.
Yeah. I mean, as much as I think Mark has a good shot at being Golden Bachelor, I feel like there's so many other good guys here though. Like, okay, Jonathan, who got the other one-on-one date, if he goes to top 4, I think he has a really good shot. I mean, in his one-on-one date, he was really seeming like Bachelor material. Oh, he said packing his suitcase because he has to pack his suitcase because he's going on the one-on-one and he may have to go home. And he said packing his suitcase like reminded him of having to pack his bags when he got a divorce, and that he's always had this feeling that I wasn't enough. And I feel like that's very Ben Higgins-esque. like unlovable.
For sure. No, it was kind of weird. I noticed on Jonathan's one-on-one date that like, I feel like he was saying all the right things. I didn't necessarily though, like see a strong connection between him and Joan. Like, I don't actually think he's top 4. However, like the things he was saying and then like the music they were playing was giving top 4, this man wins. I feel like they were almost trying to trick us into thinking the connection was like stronger than it is. So yeah, which maybe makes me think that they have other plans for Jonathan and they want us to think he is going to make it further down the line.
Yeah, or he does though. I think he just does. I mean, I think so. It's episode 3. Last episode, he got the group date rose.
Right.
And won prom king. I think I remember him from night 1. They had like a connection night 1. Probably one of the first roses given out. Oh, also, did you notice the first 2 roses of this rose ceremony? Guy and Dan. Dan, he's my man. So excited for my boys. I like feel like I like have connections to people. Who are your favorites? I know you love Chock.
Chock. I like Chock. I also like Guy too.
Like Guy?
For Joan specifically.
Break me off a piece of that.
Oh my gosh.
Like seriously.
I would say my favorites are Chock, Guy, Mark.
Mark's giving me 3. Nothing. Like besides being a pretty face, like
well, we need some pretty faces. I don't know.
Okay.
I did kind of like I feel I don't know if I like liked, but felt for Kim when he was trying to get everyone to sing his song, and I was just like, that would be me at the house. Like, did you ever?
That would be you.
Like, well, did you ever have to like as kid? Well, not that you had to ever. Like as kids, I feel like I would always want to like get like my siblings and cousins to always like put on a show with me that we'd have to like then perform for our parents. Yeah. Were you like someone being dragged into the show, or were you trying to make the show happen?
I was always making the show happen, obviously.
So was I. I was like really producing the crap out of that. And so I'm like, oh, that would be me. Like, trying to get everyone together to sing a little ditty.
Okay, we need to talk about the song though. It wasn't the best. And I think if he's going to sing a song for Joan, like why did he write it on behalf of a group? Like nothing says it's not a love song when it comes from 17 people. You know?
Yeah.
And then he's like,
and it even had like choreography where they have to go for me and they all have to point.
He's like, then the line was like, "Oh, you're going to end up with me." Then we all point to ourselves. Like, "Thanks, Kim. Got it." Like he's just so sweet. I like that the guys pushed back. And I was actually like halfway through the episode, I'm like, oh my God, are they never going to show the ending to what happens with this song? Because that's honestly one of the things I was most invested in this episode was like this song. And then I thought that since the guys pushed back, it was just not going to happen. And poor Kim just doesn't get to perform. And I'm glad he got to perform. And I really like Guy for standing with him. I think it says a lot.
It was
I will say, even in my elder age, I am still the person that makes people perform. I am always the one that produces the TikToks where I tell you, no one appreciates me in my time. Like, what did Phoebe say? I would love to be not appreciated in my own time.
Yeah.
Like how someone's, what's that line? I don't even know what it is. But that's me. No one appreciates my craft while I'm here on Earth. But once I leave this Earth, everyone's going to be like, she made some pretty damn good TikToks. My friends, I will get them all in the TikTok. Everyone bitches and cries the whole time. Oh my God, I have to do this again. The second it goes live. Oh my God, send it to me, send it to me. And then everyone's posting it. Everyone wants a piece of the TikTok once it's live, but no one wants to support the director during the process because it does take a lot of time. I mean, you've even seen me in action. That
of course.
I am like a
perfectionist. Yes.
So I get it. I mean, I relate to Kim as well. I would stand with him. Although the lyrics were horrendous.
The lyrics and the melody, which famously
do you remember how it
two aspects of a song. It was like, we are the mansion men. It was giving Munchkin Land for sure. So I see how you were confused by that. Also too, like not to be like a snob about it, but you can't just like teach people like the melody. He just, I feel like made it up in his brain and then expected everyone else to like get it. You can't just be like, yeah, it goes like this. Da, 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 da. Like you have to like Kim, if you're going to be a musician, you have to like write the melody down.
What do you want him to
print
something? Sheet music?
Yeah.
You want get out the keyboard.
He compared himself to Beethoven. It's like, come on.
Wait, he did? I missed that.
Yes.
What? Okay. Well, that was obviously sarcasm.
No, I know, but it's like, it once again, it's giving Christmas pageant at my great aunt's house that I was like, no, we all have to perform. And you know what? Sometimes maybe I should have just done more solo concerts growing up.
Seriously, you guys are dragging me down. I'll make my own TikToks.
Right.
Totally
and I think Kim realized that he was stronger.
He's a solo artist.
As a duet. Yeah.
True. I mean, if I had Guy, I would do a duet as well.
So I think we're all about self-care these days, right? Is it just me? I think we're all pretty into it. But whether that is like for skincare, doing a good workout, or just like taking some time for yourself with a book, I think we all have those types of self-care routines down. But what about pleasure as self-care? I feel like we're not talking enough about that. And that's why we need to talk about sexual wellness, guys. And that is where Dame comes in. They've made it their mission to help you explore and enjoy your pleasure, because that is also self-care, famously.
Yeah, and Dame was created by women who know that sometimes you need more than just a good night's sleep to truly feel rejuvenated, if you know what I mean. And their products are designed to help you connect with your body in a way that feels natural and, most importantly, fun.
Yes. So like, for example, they have Calm, which is a powerful external vibrator, and it's perfect for solo sessions or just like a little added buzz with a partner. So if you're looking for something a bit more subtle, you could also try Fin, which is a tiny finger vibe that adds a new twist to the touch you already know and love.
Yeah, and actually the other day someone was messaging me asking for the code because she's like, oh, I missed the code. I can't believe you're like working with Dame again. Like I want to get one. So I sent her the code. If you want to check out what Dame Products has to offer, go to dame.com. You can use code She's All Batch 30, and that's going to get you 30% off these like incredible sex toys. 30%. In today's economy, that's like a hefty savings.
Go to dame.com and use code She's All Batch 30 for 30% off. So trust me, it's time for some well-deserved me time.
I do feel a little less concerned that Kim had a strategy. I know last week I was like, oh, he wrote this song for the pageant before coming on the show. That screams like red flag. I'm trying to win the show.
Yeah.
But after seeing his songwriting skills in action, I feel a little bit less concerned that that was his intention. I think he's just a man that likes writing silly little ditties and performing them.
Yeah, but there is an aspect of like, why did he have to try to get the whole house to do it? Like, if he really just had a song in his heart and he needed to,
it's not in his heart.
Express,
he wrote it for all the mansion men.
Right. But he was like trying to have it be a moment, you know, versus like, Joan, this was the song in my heart that I need to sing for you. Let me sing it. He was like, no, he wanted it to be like a viral moment.
It's kind of giving like preschool graduation though. Like if you're going to write a song and you want it to be a viral moment, like make the song good.
Wait, speaking of preschool graduation, I had a solo standout moment at preschool graduation.
No,
like, you know how
didn't.
like at preschool graduation, everyone sings like the little songs and that's like the whole thing.
That's what I'm talking about.
I stepped out and sang Somewhere Over the Rainbow and slayed the boots house down. What's the phrase?
And,
Slay house boots down something.
Brought the house down?
Yeah, well, that's where the original phrase. What's the?
Oh, I don't know the cool phrase. You would know.
The cool. I don't know. Slay boot. It's something. Slay boots house down.
I don't
boots
know.
House slay down. Something
also,
like that.
I now know what hot to go means. By the way, I feel like a few episodes ago you did it, and then I was like, "What is that?" And then you told me. I've since heard it. Side note. Does that not sound like a song from like a Target commercial? Why are we?
It isn't a Target commercial.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say it's on the radio, isn't it?
Yes. It's a Chapel Roan song. It's a very popular song.
It shouldn't be on the radio. It should be solely in like Kohl's commercials. That's a Kohl's song because it's like a commercial song. I couldn't believe it when I heard it. I thought when you originally said it to me that you were just like quoting a commercial, and I was like, oh, haha, whatever. And then I heard it on the radio. I'm like, wait, we're actually singing this like a real song. It's like
H-O-T
30% off at Kohl's. Like, why?
Well, it is in the Target commercial, but it was a song before that. Did you see the trend? Well, did you see the trend on TikTok where it's like, you're not fun? That's because in her concert, she was like H-O-T-T-O, because that's what people do at the concert. And then she was like, I can't believe VIP is too cool to do this. You're not fun. And then that became a TikTok moment. You don't know that one?
No, to be honest,
TikTok
I don't even know who this person is.
Chapel Roan. All right, we can't
is it
get
a guy?
into. No, she's a girl, but she's actually having. I was gonna sound off about her last week because there's actually like a lot of controversial stuff going on with her right now. I still support her, but people are unhappy with her because she canceled 2 concerts. We can talk about it during sound off.
I heard about this. Oh, and people were already like on their way there or something, and she just said like, I'm not like mentally feeling it today or something.
Yeah,
right. I don't know like literally anything else other than that.
That's pretty much it. And people are like, get over it, show off to work. But I'm like, you know what? Sometimes you need a sick day.
I'm gonna need some time to unravel my thoughts.
Familiarize yourself with Chapel. She's like my favorite pop girly right now. Her songs are so good.
For next week, I will. How do we get to Chapel Roan? We're talking about
Hot to Go songs.
Oh, you're
something.
so you slayed the house down. You sang well in preschool. Usually that develops like a little later.
Yeah, no, I stepped up and sang Somewhere Over the
But did
Rainbow
you sing well was my question. Like, could you actually sing at that age?
As well as like a 3 or 4 year old can sing. Yeah.
You got the whole song?
Kind of,
or just like the one line?
No, the whole song.
Do we have video footage? I need to see this.
Probably somewhere. I don't know.
Well, shout
on
out
YouTube, to my mom who's listening. I mean, there's no like, it's probably a video footage on like a cassette tape.
I know, but then you can videotape it with your camera.
I don't have it in
I know. When you go home next, guys, I will don't let Jackie forget this. When you go home, like for Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever, put it in, videotape it.
Okay, I'll try to find it. And then we can all be the judge of whether I was actually good at singing or just an annoying 3-year-old.
Were you just like a cute little girl that like demanded the solo? Because that's probably what you did. Let's be honest.
Maybe. Yeah.
Okay. So later in the night, Joan opens up, like we said, about how she's not 100% ready. I'm sure the men that have gone through the same experience like understand where she's coming from and know that it doesn't mean she's not willing. She just doesn't feel ready like at this moment, maybe.
Yeah, I actually think it was like nice to share because to your point, I do think a lot of the guys were in similar situations and could empathize. And at the end of the day, I think like she just has to show up where she's at.
Did you notice that when Chock went to comfort her, she said, and I quoted this, Chock is a fixer. John was a fixer. John, her late husband. She's comparing Chock to John. And I swear, if Chock really does end up going home next week and break Joan's heart, I'm going to have a talk with him. Because if she's already feeling like Chock gives big John energy, then like
no,
I think
totally
he has it in the bag.
Now Chock is my front runner. I think like he is so leaps and bounds ahead of all the other guys, and maybe it's just because obviously like he has had a one-on-one date, and people who we also think she's pretty into, like Guy, have not had one-on-one dates. So and maybe that will level the playing field down the line. But as of right now, I'm still like very, very pro Chock.
I'm also pro Chock too. I think it's a fake out. Oh yeah, we got to talk about Gary.
We have to talk about Gary. And were you hoping he would be like, I still love you, Joan, and I'm going to join the house instead of just giving her pilot wings?
No, and he really just did give her, like, he didn't even really explain, like, his reason for being there. He's just like, you know the drill. I'm not actually joining the house, right? Like,
well, yes, but he did kind of set up, like, a plot point of, like, have you considered that your guy is not here?
Why would you ever come on the show and say that, though? Way to be a buzzkill, Gary. I understand what you're doing, and we needed it for the storyline, but if this was not produced at all, why would someone ever show up uninvited on the show and be like, are you sure this isn't going to end in, like, a dumpster fire? Probably will.
Right, especially like, when there's still so many guys here so far. Right. Like, it's not like we're at, like, the top 3 and she's, like, really unsure
she's struggling and he's like, exactly. Like, it is a bit odd. I get it. I understand it was fake, but, like, it doesn't really seem realistic.
That's important for the storyline. And also, like, I'm sure the conversation they had was much longer than what we saw, obviously. And I think it's very telling that, like, in the editing room, that's what they're choosing to leave in. Because you don't think maybe they have him say a bunch of different things and they're like, all right, let's see how this goes. And then like, we'll edit in like what Gary's supposed to say as like, luminous, illuminating, like, what's the word for it? Foreshadowing, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it's like Mad Libs. Like, they're like, all right, say a bunch of things. Like, say, are you ready to get engaged? And engagement's right around the corner. Like, whatever we're going to need at this point in the storyline. It's like the infamous, Gillian Anderson when she tripped on the carpet on Crystal's season, but then while they were filming, they made her go back and walk normally because had she ended up being like a front runner, they wanted to have footage of her not tripping on a carpet. But since she ends up going home a little earlier, they're like, oh, it doesn't matter. We can leave this in. So I agree. I think that they probably had Gary say a lot of buzz lines. Like
exactly.
Jesse always says at the end, are you sure you're ready to do this? And it's like, yeah, Jesse, I have to go to the rose ceremony. I do this every single episode. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. So we'll see. I don't know. Do you think there's a world where Joan ends up alone? I actually do.
I really
And there's a lot of focus on her not being fully ready because of her husband. I don't know. And I actually think that could be a good ending. It's empowering.
No, I want Joan to end up with someone. And like a lot of the guys also aren't fully ready. So maybe they can like help each other.
Right, but like Gary said, if her guy's not here, he's not here.
Based on what, Gary? Like, why are you jumping to those conclusions? It's not like Gary came. Okay, if Gary like hosted a date and saw stuff firsthand and then was like, hey, like, I'm not sure if I'm seeing you connect with a lot of people. Are you sure your guy's here? But you literally just like showed up in the driveway and are assuming the absolute worst for no reason. Who
No,
told
because
you
they
this,
told him to
Gary?
say that
Right.
line, a producer. And he also said 65 other lines, and they are picking which ones are making the final cut.
I will say, seeing Gary on my screen again, I was like, you are like a little
I
sweet
know I
angel
miss him.
muffin. He's so freaking cute. I think they should just get together. Cut this season short and just let Gary get back with Joan.
Well, that's what
He
I
was
wrote
the one that
down.
got away.
Have you considered your guy is not here in parentheses, LOL, because it's me, JK. That's what I wrote down.
I love that you joke with yourself in your notes. Wouldn't it make more sense, though, and more realistic if Gary was like, don't be so quick to eliminate a guy, or something tying it back to his relationship with her? Like for you, I felt like you were the one that got away. Make sure you're really certain before you say goodbye to certain people. Like, don't just send people home. Just something to tie back to why you're even there.
Or make sure you talk ahead of time about where you guys want to live. Or
take it from me.
I wish Gary could get like another season of Golden.
I wish he would too.
But with all women who live in Indiana.
Yeah.
That way that wouldn't be an issue anymore.
Because it was a little weird hearing him talk with her about it, knowing that his marriage lasted a handful of months. Like, why are you, I get why you're here, but also why are you here?
If not to join the house. Come on, Gary. Yeah.
Like we said, Mark gets the final rose, and then Grega, Kim, CK, and CK go home. Although we've never called him CK, his name is Charles, but he's the other Charles. Right, why we decided to throw him a random nickname at the last minute, I don't know. I don't believe she called him CK in previous rose ceremonies, but I'm sure I'm wrong. Let me know.
Probably, because why would they start that now? And there's always been the other Charles, and you can't compete with the other Charles.
No, that's why. It's like,
yeah.
Charles K, like, it is your time, because Charles L has a storyline that's like soaring right now.
No, I know. So I was sad to see Kim go, even after the song too.
I know. And what an angel that he goes up to her and says, like, I really would like to be your friend. And she's like, oh, forever. You are my friend forever.
I know.
I feel like they're making such great friendships. Like, even Joan and Charles L, I feel like, he's going to probably go home maybe next week or the week after, but they're going to be friends for life.
Totally.
Like, I'm so happy for them.
Speaking of friends, we didn't even talk about the oatmeal commercial with our Golden Girls. To
talk about, but is this not crazy? It's Askin without April. And now Sandra's the new Askin. So now what is it? It's
skin.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I loved seeing Sandra. She fit right in and looked so great in the commercial. But the fact that it's Askin and they've just booted April out.
I know.
When was April's contract up? We're creeping up on it, because didn't Leslie
I think
say
we are.
December?
I think I messaged with her a little bit too.
No, you
at
did.
Some point. Yeah.
Why don't we, like, even if it's December, like, we should write them and just like get it on the calendar now, so we're like set. I mean, we know there was something from what I'm gathering from what we knew in the past. Like, I think the rest of Askin still wanted to go on like the influencer trips and do stuff as like they're celebrities now and they have this newfound fame. And I think April couldn't, because of work or something. And I think there was some animosity around like how the other girls still did it, even though April couldn't come. And there was some divide.
Right, but it's like, is that a reason to throw away a deep, wonderful friendship? I just think there has to be more.
Well, I'm sure there is more. I think that's what the public knows, is that there was a trip and April couldn't keep up with it anymore. And she's like, look, I'm in my 60s or whatever, and I can't just like keep taking off work every other week because people know me from TV. Meanwhile, Susan and Kathy and Nancy, again, they have no problem doing that. Like, April didn't even get to go on Celebrity Family Feud last week.
To pretend like Sandra was part of it the whole time. Like, they're really just like not acknowledging her, and it's sad.
I know. And if I didn't love Sandra so much, I would have a problem with it, but I don't have as much of a problem with it.
No, Sandra's great. I mean, she's like an unproblematic queen. Love her.
Also, like, Kathy got a lot of lines in that commercial, and I feel like she did a really good job acting.
They're little celebs. I love to see it.
Susan,
I hope they all got paid handsomely for that.
I really hope. I mean, it was Quaker Oats and primetime television. But yeah, I mean, next week they tease that Chock leaves. Let's make predictions. I don't think he actually leaves. Do you think he actually leaves?
I'm worried he actually does leave.
That's
unfortunately.
Insane.
I know.
No. Then
my
it's
front
definitely
runner.
Guy.
I know.
My front runner is Guy, Chock, Dan, my man. And then who's 4? Oh, Jonathan. That's my top 4.
Love that for you.
Give me one. Give it.
Chock, Guy, Mark, because they have to set him up, and Jonathan.
Oh, okay. So you're really just anti Dan. He's my man. That's pretty weird.
I just we don't know a lot about Dan, the man.
He is so sweet and cute though. Like he's so cute. And he got the second rose. He's top of her mind.
All right. I guess there's no way to know unless we keep watching.
Yes.
So see you guys next week. Hope you liked this video rendition. If you guys are listening with just your ears, go watch with your eyeballs too on YouTube.
And click the like button and hit subscribe. It's not hard, okay?
No, it's actually easy.
And write in the comments below of this YouTube video.
Right, literally sound off in the comments.
Our thoughts love writing in that Facebook group. I see all of you guys. Write it in this video, please. And I will write back to every single one of you, okay? Is that it, Jackie?
I think that's it.
Bye, bitches.